Hello?
Hello, Jughead. This is Archie. Come over right away. It's a matter of life or death.
Oh, relax, Archie.
Attention, all true believers. Marvel Comics is on the air.
A friend of the unfortunate, enemy of criminals. In reality, Dan Garrett, a rookie patrolman, loved by everyone but suspected by none of being the Blue Beetle.
Boys and girls, your attention, please. Presenting a new exciting radio program featuring the thrilling adventures of an amazing and incredible personality. Faster than an airplane, more powerful than a locomotive, impervious to bullets.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman!
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That was abrupt. I'm over here jamming. Now you guys know what I do while all that fun stuff is playing.
Hello, everyone.
Say that again. Sorry.
I said hello, everyone. It's been a minute.
Yeah. Sorry about last week, everybody. We just it's difficult when everyone is traveling to get the show together. We'd really had a little more time. We would have pre-shot it for you guys and run it on Tuesday, so you had all the information. So that was a weird anomaly, a really crazy glitch, and I will swear not to do that again until maybe next year.
Ed caught it. Good man, Ed.
It's so funny because the internet is out in my center right now, so I'm doing all of my broadcasts through my phone, which is awesome that we have technology to do such things, but I also can't see anyone's comments, so you guys can say whatever you want.
Okay. Well.
Oh, it's me.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I guess for this review, you guys should close your ears for half a second as I set it up, because if you're not reading it, the beginning of this issue has something really big in it, but you have to know it to know anything else that's going on. So here it comes. Just I'm going to count to 5 while you can be silent. Peter Parker's dead. He's real dead. Real dead. Okay. So the setup for this is that you get to enter the fray Juggernaut, which I did not know before I read this issue, that he gets his power from the exact same beings that are the ones that Peter's been trying to do the challenge of, those ultimate godlike beings. He gets his godlike power, which means absolutely nothing can stop him, from the same source. So it's real complicated right now, as Juggernaut, who's usually a big bad, shows up and tries to figure out what's going on. What does this mean? The implications of what happened the last issue are big time things here. So I will say this is not an issue to skip, even though it's a point issue. And if you love Juggernaut, this one's really cool. You will like it. And it has a lot of really good art. And it leaves you on a giant cliffhanger at the end, as all good point issues do. If you don't know what a point issue is it's usually an issue in which it's part of the main storyline that is ongoing for that title, but it's usually kind of like a pause or a stop or something important to the story that they want you to like. It's kind of like when you get to a period at the end of a sentence. Pay attention. Full stop. That's what's going on here. So, yeah, you should go out. I mean, this has been a really great series. I know it's a lot. It's a weekly book, but it has never let me down. So try it out.
It's pretty metal. 68-point death.
Very metal.
Okay. I don't know anything about this at all.
You've never watched the cartoon. You don't know anything about the toy line.
Didn't
Ooh,
know
that's
this
nice.
was didn't know this was a cartoon. I mean, I can tell because it's in the same vein of Biker Mice from Mars and stuff, that whole Nacelliverse. But yeah, I'd never heard of it until I looked at this comic today. Um, this is an issue 2, so I have again no idea. I jumped right into this and have no idea what is going on. And it's funny that Eddie and Nope are like, dude looks like He-Man, and is that a He-Man tank? Because this feels like Sid from Toy Story, like just Frankenstein some action figures together, and they threw it into space and turned it into a comic. I'm gonna have to read issue 1 because I was just like, what even is this? Not that it's bad, but I the He-Man tank really got me. I was or whatever the character is. I don't even remember the character's name, but I saw this and I was like, I'm so confused about what this is. Like, I'm so confused. The issue that I read was very action packed, but I just I need to research this now. Like, I was reading this and I was like, this is probably one of the weirdest things I've ever read, but I want to know more about it. Like, I'm about to hyper focus on whatever this is to find out who are these characters and who in the world was like, you know what would be great? Let's just He-Man tank. And there's some other characters in here. He's not the weird. I mean, he's definitely one of the weirdest ones, but he's not the weirdest character in this comic. Again, I'm a bit lost, but it looks cool, and the art's actually really good. Um, but like it's like a sci-fi toy mashup adventure, and I would tell you that it's definitely worth a look. Definitely worth a look. I am going to find issue 1, and like I said, I'm just going to get on Wikipedia or whatever. I'm going to look this up because it has my interest. It has my interest.
I know that the parent company, the one that owns the licensing rights to all the ones you've been seeing from that company, the RoboForce, the Power Lords, and all those. And I know that they have a toy line. I think they've got the Power Lords toy line because I think it would be really fun to play with Tank He-Man. I'm sure he has a real name, but you can play with him and my Biker Mice from Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah. See all those guys in the same universe would be real cool. I think the first issue they had where they introduced all the Nacelliverse was like that, where you had the Great Glue and okay, so man, I don't know how to get you into the universe any more than I already have for Absolute. I will tell you just like some news out of our time at Comics Pro is that like this is all meant to be pretty awesome and long form. The neat thing is that I got to, no lie, I sat at they give you round tables, right, where the DC folks are talking to you. This is a little more informal than you would normally have, like when they do presentations. But on the table, they had the kind of like the working copies, just spiral bound of Martian Manhunter, Absolute Martian Manhunter, Absolute Flash, and whatever the other one is. But I love Martian Manhunter, so I picked it up and literally I feel so bad because I've probably seemed really rude, but I read the entirety of Absolute Martian Manhunter, which you should absolutely put on your box right now. Do not miss getting into that one. I hear more buzz about that, and it's weird because Absolute Flash comes out before it. So anyway,
and Green Lantern.
Yeah,
Green
Green
Lantern.
Lantern. And I think it's so cool because on the front of that book it says no lantern, no ring, just just them. So whatever that character is not using a Green Lantern power, or at least not a ring or any of those other things. So I'm kind of intrigued. But anyway, so you guys all have probably heard by now all the deals about why Absolute Wonder Woman is so cool. This one deals with that cool whip that she's been given. She's kind of at odds with it because she feels like its purpose is contrary to what she wants to do. Since she's run to Earth and has been helping out. Last we saw her, she was fighting that giant. Oh, it has a crazy cool name. I'm going to call it a Throg, and that's not it because it's much longer than that. But last we saw her, she whipped out her giant sword, and it became a giant sword. And she tried to cleave it in half. Well, the problem is that this Throg thing actually heals, so she's never going to be able to kill it. So she spends a lot of this issue trying to figure out how in the world, or if she wants to use the power that this cool whip lasso can give her. And it's a really great kind of like path for her to kind of reconcile herself to this thing, which her mother has given her. So it's all about her. She's, spends some time being talked to by, I think it's Hecate that she gets grabbed by and actually talks to in person. So this one's great, has a bunch of action like that in it, ends on a cliffhanger. And it's gorgeous. The whole thing is gorgeous. Can't believe how beautiful this book is, still going all the way in here to issue 5. So grab it up.
Yeah, since Miss Jen can't see the comments, hello EJB and Tumega. And Tumega wants to know, does it show why Flash has a monkey?
I didn't get to pick that book up. I mean, I'm seriously, I feel so bad. I had them right in front of me, but I literally spent my entire, it's like maybe a 5-minute time you have sitting in front of them. So that's all I had access to. I only opened Martian Manhunter and read it cover to cover. So I know how good that one is.
And Tetracide? Is that
that's
the name?
It's a Tetracide. That's it. Thank you. Thanks,
that
guys.
That was Tumega. Thank you.
Well, me again. Okay. Marvel's been doing these one shots, which kind of feel like why, the Doom rocket. You're like, why would you need this book? But they've been, all of them that I've read have been so great. And this is another one of those. I don't really read a lot of stuff for Thor, because Thor's not one of my very favorite characters. But I do like the Warriors 3. So this one focuses in on Volstagg, who's the one that everyone kind of thinks of as kind of the buffoon, eats way too much, has, junk in his beard, kind of a laughing stock, right? But this is kind of really cool because he gets in touch with Captain America because he needs some help. And that's kind of the secret of how this lays out. But it's really a good way in the storytelling in which you can kind of figure out why Volstagg's like that. He's chosen the position he has because he knows it's an important position and kind of behavior to have in order to be the best he can be for that team. So maybe not as buffoon as you think, but he is as hungry as you think. Absolutely. He eats the whole issue. But this one is about an interaction he has when he kind of accidentally becomes a hero for another alien race. And there's some complexities that come out of that regarding one of the other race beings that he kind of maybe may have made eyes for. So it's a lovely story. It's a single shot. You don't ever have to read anything else, but it's a great way to get to know Volstagg. You'll probably love him a lot after this issue.
One of these that I'm really excited for is Nick Fury and Fing Fang Foom.
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay. My notes are out of order. Okay, so this is Grim Fairy Tales number 93, I believe.
Man, they're ramping up to 100. Wow.
Yeah. This was okay. It's only 22 pages, so it was a really quick read. There's vampires in it. And we also get away from fish people. So that's a plus for me.
So you're super sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very sad. I don't know. It's weird. If I had to choose between vampires and fish people, I'm going vampire. But or at least for this particular issue, we don't have any fish people. But this does feel like a hey, remember these characters exist in the same universe kind of issue. Um, I haven't read anything Zenoscope honestly in a long time. I think the last thing I read was a Van Helsing. That's because that's one of a couple of characters that I like when they have their own adventures. It's a weird thing that I have that a lot of times for me it feels like the characters that they bring in for like the team up are just there. They don't feel like they're there because they serve a purpose. They're just there to remind you that these folks are here. But I'm not really hey this wasn't bad is my entire point. Like usually I'm a little bit down on this main universe story. I don't know why, but I sound like the old man shaking fist at Cloud. I kind of miss just the older Zenoscope where it was like the actual grim fairy tales
Hmm.
that they twisted with people, and it wasn't like a superhero universe, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, to each their own. There's people that obviously people like are into this if they're you know however many issues into this they are. I don't know if this comes out of another story or this is a new arc, but there's definitely some familiar faces, and then there's a character that I personally like that shows up at the end of the book. So it's one of those things where I tell people all the time when it comes to Zenoscope, if I'm not high on it, that doesn't mean anything. If you're a fan of Zenoscope, you should definitely check it out. Don't listen to me. But I'm going to tell you that I didn't think I liked this one. It was 22 pages is the correct amount of pages, as Kyle would say.
I remember
And hey,
they used to push it a lot farther, right? They used to be like they were the people that were like, here you go, we're gonna accidentally do 48 pages or whatever.
hey, Barlord.
All right, The Loose End. This one's an interesting, not traditional, what I would call crime noir that you normally see out of Hardcase, and I'm here for it because it's really kind of cool. This one focuses in on a fellow who, I feel like probably has a really bad gambling problem, um, but he's occasionally good at doing what he does. And he has a really good friend who they like to gamble together, so probably is not good, and that he like probably reinforces that problem. And he like bails him out if something goes wrong. So like if he like gets busted out, has maybe something happened like get an eviction notice on his door. He's like, it's all right, man. I'll back you some money so we can go gambling some more. The thing about his friend is they're both kind of like in Hollywood or Hollywood adjacent. So like his friend is actually an actor of some note that he actually gets recognized on the street, takes pictures and things that would probably annoy you and I, but he just really loves. He loves the public. He loves taking pictures. He thinks it's the best life ever. But he's not a douche about it, if that makes any sense. But this other fellow who has a distinct gambling problem is actually a screenwriter. He just hasn't been found yet. But his acting friend really believes in him, and it's not in a fake way. He really is like, you're going to come with me on things that I do because I want people to recognize you as well. So, as this is a background, there is something crazy that happens. It actually kind of starts with this action and kind of then catches you up to the action where he gets kidnapped and it's for a specific thing. Um and this poor guy, he doesn't have an ounce of like I'm going to be bad today other than like his horrible, crippling gambling debt. But that's going to figure into this problem. You would think that it would be like he's going to get his legs broken, but nope, he is not the target of what's happening. So It's really, really cool. Great. The art is like it's on the front. And so I guess it is kind of crime noir, but it's from the point of view of the crime, not any police officers, which is normally the case, like a detective or something. There's no detectives and no police as far as I can tell in this book.
So I see that hard case crimes. What? Where's the nudity? Where's the gun honey? Like, was there not any?
I don't remember there being any. Nope, I don't think that's fun. Not yet.
Hello, Darkness. This was actually after the first anthology I read, so my notes start out another anthology. Um, Look, I remember reading a few stories from the first two issues. Uh, but I guess they didn't start adding this till a little bit later. But there's actually a "Something is Killing the Children" story as one of the stories in this book. It's like part 4 though.
Mm-hmm.
So
they're sneaking it in.
Yeah. Here's what I'm gonna say. That was one of the tamest things I read in this. This book has got some twisted stuff in it. Like this is the horror book that if you're a horror fan or just like really messed up things, this is the book you should be reading. This is stuff that's gonna stay with me for a little bit. Like it's a little bit I don't know. It's when I'm done working tonight, I'm gonna need to read some Sonic and My Little Pony. It's just to clear it out a bit. There's a couple. Yes, Barlord. It's an anthology book. But there are a couple of stories in here that are hashtag not that bad, and then there's a lot of stories in here that are hashtag nightmare fuel. This is not a book you want to read if you're squeamish, and you're not going to want to read this book in public, especially the very first story. It's a body horror thing that you got to see that I don't think I've ever seen in a comic before, and it really just like I'm reading another story, and that first story is just stuck in my brain. You know, but if you're looking for a good horror book or something with just messed up stories in it, like Hello Darkness is definitely a book you should be reading. Like, and Ed says it, and he's absolutely right. Boom is definitely killing it with the horror. This book is just the very last story in here. I couldn't. It was a Garth Ennis story, and he pulled off a very boys like thing at the end of the story. So it's it's great. Check it out.
I have to say, like, of the companies that kind of like launched or announced themselves or kind of explained themselves at Comics Pro, there were a ton of horror leaning companies. So you guys are going to be chock a block full of horror content. Oh, I love this book. Here's where your nudity is. Hello. Okay, so the main character here is that fellow there with a gun. He will do things for money. Pow things for money. But also he's a playboy. So imagine him as like a bad guy James Bond. You get to see him with lots of ladies, many buried in ladies at some point in this book. So it's essentially this book about two big soda pop companies that are run by brothers. One's out of, I think, Tokyo, and I think the other one's in America. I think that's where they catch up with our main character. And the pitch for the book is that he owes a debt to one of these guys, think mafioso kind of soda pop runners, and gets tasked with he has to do a bunch of impossible tasks to get the debt taken care of, and unfortunately, when he's done with that, there's another task that really needs to happen, because they find out through the grapevine that this other brother, his pop company, has come up with some kind of crazy new technology involving soda that will basically put all the rest of soda out of business if they actually come through with it. So, of course, he's going to get tasked with doing away with the person that's creating it. And it's all kind of complex. This is really beautiful art. It's ridiculous because, for example, our main character admits to the guy he owes this debt to with sleeping with his this guy's mistress, and then makes a play to sleep with this guy's new mistress as part of the deal for doing the next thing that he asked him to do. This guy's gonna get killed, y'all. He doesn't know when to quit. So, Pop Kill is incredibly ridiculous and awesome. Oh my gosh.
Okay. So apparently, I have missed a ton in the 3 issues I didn't read. Um, I remember after issue 1, I said this is kind of mild and felt like it was closer to the cartoon that I really, really dug as a kid, and I still dig it as an adult. I watch it to fall asleep sometimes. Um, well, the language and the violence in this issue is completely ramped up. This is Toxic Avenger. This is Toxic Avenger. This book feels like the perfect blend of the movies and the cartoon because it has some characters from the cartoon now drawn in this style. Um, I was thoroughly surprised and very glad that I ended up reading this. Um, I do wonder exactly when the series took this 180 turn because I remember the first one. I went back and looked just to make sure, and it was pretty mild for being a Toxic Avenger comic from Ahoy, of all places. It was that clean. But from issue 1 to 5, it almost didn't feel like the same comic. It really didn't. Like, it felt like here's the kid version was issue 1 I read. Here's the older kid version when you get to this issue right here. It has it now. It's not as gross as Trauma Properties. If there's older folks in the chat, I say older folks in the chat that know of Trauma. Well, it's. I don't think we have any 15-year-old kids watching this. But if there's folks in the chat that know Trauma movies, you know that they're very, very over the top, gory in a lot of them. Ed's saying bite me, but I accidentally put myself in that when I said older people because I'm sitting here talking about it. But if you're a fan of either the cartoon or the movies, again, this comic is definitely for you because it's a very good blend. Very good blend. Like there's a character named No Zone from the cartoon that is in this book, and that's the only one of the characters from the cartoon that's in this book that I'll spoil for anybody. So yeah, definitely. If you read the first one and you're kind of like, trust me, check this one out.
And part of the announcements out of that company is that they are going to have a crossover between Toxic Avenger and Jesus Christ, written by Mark Russell, who wrote the other Ahoy title starring the same, but not Toxic. So I didn't get to read that, so I have no idea where they're headed with it. All right, so this is a tie-in to One World Under Doom called Red Hulk, in which Doom has basically weaponized the Red Hulk to do something for him specifically. And when he's not the Hulk, he's got him in prison, which is kind of interesting. What else can I tell you about this? Will not ruin all the fun stuff for you. Nothing really. Just know that there's a big agenda that's going on. Doom is at the center of it. There's Doom bots in this one, and yeah, this one's really cool. And it's I'm liking the One World Under Doom because it's just like at every turn, what happens in these books lets you know that it's like he's really intent on being in control of every daggum thing. He's not even playing around. So I don't know what I don't know what it looks like at the end of him gathering everything together for himself and getting rid of all of his enemies, but it should be real interesting. That's it. Uncanny Valley.
So, good night, everyone. This was my favorite book this week.
Oh. Noise.
I do have some notes here, probably the longest notes I took. So I am behind on the series a little bit, but again, full confidence. This is my favorite thing that I read today. A little bit like not spoilery, but Oliver is in full cartoon, so he looks very different from when we saw him in the first 3 or 4 issues. So he looks he looks like he does on the cover here. He meets not legally Smurfs, but these not legally Smurfs can fly like they're sprites. He's being chased by the crows and ogres, and all this time his grandpa and his mom are trying to find him because apparently in something that I missed, he somehow opened some kind of portal that his grandpa can't open or something like that. I got to go back and read a couple issues to figure out what happened. But they're trying to find him, and this story is just so good. Like, yeah, there's humor and you got the wild cartoon craziness, but it's also deep and has a lot of heart. Like, there's a conversation in here about loss, and in a lot of books that are like haha funny, that might be a little bit jarring to people, but for me, it helps the story progress. And look, I've said it before about Tony Fleeks. I'm a big fan. He's a genius, and all his work should be optioned, and not only optioned but greenlit, because I want to see this on my TV. I want to see Uncanny Valley streaming somewhere. I want to see this story in live / animated action. This is an excellent series. Like, if you haven't hopped on it, you really should go back and just get the trade, get all the issues, however you collect. Go to your LCS, see if they have them, and just sit down and just read this all the way through. This is just a great series.
Agreed. Okay, Ultimate Spider-Man. Okay, so what's been happening recently? You've got everyone else believes that Spider-Man is still doing his thing, but really it is his son in kind of a different costume. It looks like more of like a black costume because his dad's been captured by Craven there, and they are all hanging out in Savage Land where everything is crazy. So that is really cool. So you see that part of it where you've got Craven. Because this is an ultimate universe, not everybody works the same way they do in the normal universe. And it's cool because he has, you can't see it on this side of his head because they don't have it on there for some reason, but he has a tattoo on the other side of his head where it's shaved, and it looks like Dakin's tattoo. You know what that one looks like? I don't know if it is Dakin's tattoo, but it looks like Dakin's tattoo. So I don't know what they're trying to say there, but so Peter's son, I think it's Ben. I think it's Ben his name. He is having interaction with Black Cat, who I guess in this universe, Black Cat used to be uh, Felicia's dad, and so now it's like her. So she doesn't trust. She's basically, it doesn't make any sense. You definitely are a Spider-Man. It takes Ben about half the issue to get her to believe him. But so this is great furthering of the plot. It's cool to see. It has a big cliffhanger at the end because the whole thing that Peter Parker knows while he's stuck in the Savage Land is he knows that the Craven knows who his family is. That he knows who Mary Jane is. He knows who he is. So it's different than it has been where everything's been secret and everyone's safe in that way. So all of a sudden that gets ramped up. So that, but there is a big cliffhanger. Oh, baby. You have to say it Chicago.
So, Chicago. I'm going to preface this by saying I like Godzilla. I'm not like a Godzilla mega fan. This is not a book that I would usually read. But if I'm going to be honest with you, there weren't a whole lot of books for me on my list this week. This is an anthology. This was the first of the anthologies that I read. And I didn't realize that when I was reading it and I was making my notes for it. So, the first story is the only one I really got through. I did skim the other one, so just know it's a bunch of different Godzilla stories. But this one has a guy named Fanguli.
Fanguli, huh?
Yes.
Does he look like Svengoolie?
He does. He's got the makeup like picture. You know the Fan Man, right? The guy that flies in with a big fan on his back. Okay, they mashed those two together.
Okay.
So this is a dude that everyone loves. He's making his way into the stadium, and you could tell, and he's telling you through the idea boxes. I can't remember what they're called. The exposition boxes. He's like, yeah, everybody loves me. Well, he starts to leave, and he accidentally blocks a field goal. Now, this story takes place in Philadelphia. So he blocks this field goal. The whole city turns against him. Somehow, the company that he works for has a contract that allows them to use Mecha Godzilla in case Godzilla shows up. Okay, I got to stop for a second. Miss Jen can't see it, so I got to read this to her.
Okay.
Oh, I was going to say in Chicago they never make field goals anyway. That's from Kyle.
Oh, snap.
My goodness. So anyway, this guy gets in Mecha Godzilla. He's like, you know what? I'm going to stage like a fake attack on the stadium, and then he's going to sneak out the back and save it. The problem is, the minute he steps out of the base in this Mecha Godzilla suit, Godzilla shows up, and they fight. So, like I said, that's just the first story of like 4.
That kind of blows my mind because I know that like Godzilla's an apex predator, so he definitely can sense other apex predators. But like Mechagodzilla is just a mech. How does he sense anything?
Because this guy has what I like to call just that luck. it's just that luck. No Godzilla sightings for months or years, but the minute he decides, hey, I'm going to use this mech suit, Godzilla just is like, oh, this guy's going to do something. He wants people to like him again. I better go stop that. Basically, there, like I said, there's like 4 other stories in there. That's the one that I got through. It's not a bad book. This was like I said, this was a little bit wasted on me, but I think fans, like real fans of Godzilla, I think they're really going to dig this one. So be sure, Godzilla fans, check this one out. Godzilla versus America. Godzilla versus Chicago. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's a ton of Godzilla heading our way because there's Godzilla Heist, there's a Mothra book, there's Godzilla versus LA, there's there were like 3 of them that other ones that they were like on. By the way, you have an ongoing Godzilla title coming to you, which we have not had an ongoing Godzilla title in a long, long time. So you can freak all the way out if you'd like. I'll wait. What's that? Yep, it goes to help victims of the LA fires. That was something that wasn't like in the plans when they built the book, but when they realized that it was coming out reasonably soon after the fires, they were like, how perfect is this? So yeah, they're donating all the proceeds to people that were in need from the LA fires. All right. This is weird. I'm going to like freak my own self out by saying this out loud because I actually got asked this so I go and I read at the Black Bear Diner, which I don't have to tell them what I eat or drink. They just show up at my spot. And so my waiter always asks me like, what's my favorite book for the week? And so I said, weirdly, although I don't ever read any Trek, this one. It's just really good. So, okay, I don't watch any Star Trek shows, or I haven't for years. I'm mostly into the movies. So I don't know. It says it's got a Paramount Plus original series streaming, but I don't know if it means Section 31 is a title or what they're talking about. But this book focuses in on this person. Well, it's both the same person who ends up being the Emperor. But I just like get you guys caught up because I had to read this part. This is Michael Burnham knew Philippa Giorgio as a captain and a mentor, so that must be what we know them from the show. Before Burnham, Christopher Pike knew her as a witty adversary capable of drinking him under the table. And before Pike, the people of Terran Empire knew her as Emperor Philippa Giorgio Augustus Leponus Centaurus, her most imperial majesty and mother of the fatherland. So, what this book is about how she became the emperor. So, it's weird. It's kind of like they gather a bunch of like hopeful kids that they handpick. They must be from kind of better families or something because they don't just look like, like random kids they picked off the streets. They look kind of prepared-ish. And they put them through a bunch of brutal stuff. So this is not a Trek you can hand to your kids. Do not. Because almost immediately when they have the initial, I can't remember how many kids, we'll say there were 14 or 13 or something, in the room, the people that are kind of like the trainers or whatever, the overseers, one of them basically cuts one of the kids' heads off. As an illustration that is how they're going to get down to the one person that's worthy of being emperor, so someone that has ruthlessness and no caring for anybody else and all these things, which is weird. So that's all the traits that they want to have in their emperor, but that is exactly what's going on. So this is kind of like you just see different parts where they try to maybe work together a little bit, which is forbidden, or them having skill sets that, like just in Survivor, where you don't want to be too strong because anyone targets you. You don't want to be too weak. The people target you. You want to be that guy that's in the corner no one pays attention to until it's too late. So it's a really great bunch of battle stuff, but it is very brutal. There's a lot of young people being killed. So probably like Hunger Games, but ramped up. And then you get to understand this character. So if you're watching the show, I guess this probably means way more to you than it does to me. But I just loved it because it was so well written. I actually care about this character, even though I'm pretty sure she's terrible as an adult.
I don't know if they meant it too, but does that not look like Michelle Yao to anyone else on that
Totally. I
cover?
mean, does anybody know who this character is? Has she been on the show?
Let's see, Barlow said it's a movie. A movie they just dropped? Hey, Meg, too, welcome in, man. Good to see you.
That's great. This is a one shot for you.
It
guys.
is Michelle Yeoh.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, good. They did a good job of her likeness because that's
Yeah.
the whole thing. I was thinking that was who it was in my brain. I did. We finished early. Oh no!
Sorry, I was busy Googling Michelle Yeoh Star Trek Section 31.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate it. So I will tell you, just kind of like, I know that there's some really great shows out there. You should go try and find the Comics Insider show that dropped today, I think, where they talked all about the Comics Pro meeting, and there were retailers that were on there and people that are like on the Comics Pro board. So it's very informative and fun. Give you an inside look at it. But I would just tell you from my point of view, what could have been a very kind of like full of fear gathering was definitely not. Everyone had kind of like high hopes for what was going on in the future. All the small press guys that were essentially like, we're not 100% certain what the next 2 weeks looks like, as we're waiting for the Diamond bankruptcy to finish out and end up in the auction process. It looks like many of them are sticking there in the interim because the process still means the books get to us, which is awesome. We want to make sure to get them to you guys. So don't be too worried. All of them have plans and backup plans. So none of them are like, guess we're not going to do comics anymore. None of them are saying that. So, as a matter of fact, we had, I think, at least 3 or 4 new companies launch at Comics Pro. So it is definitely not a place in which you see people saying, "Well, we're finished making new comics." People are instead saying, "Let's make more comics," which is cool.
And you know, Wednesday on the Kyle and A Q&A, we're going to be talking about what we learned at Comics Pro. Here's a spoiler from my side: nothing, because I wasn't there. But should be a fun time. Hopefully, we can get some folks on. Want some experienced folks on. Want some fans on. You know, let us know if you can come by. We want to make it like a Hydra hangout, but for the experience and not 5.5, 6 hours long. Like mine are. For some reason, we just get to talking. Next thing you know, it's like 2:00 in the morning. We started at 8.
Sounds fun.
But folks, coming up next, Welcome to Wonderland. If you have not watched that show, I believe Nope has been there. A couple other folks, Make Two has been there. It's a really fun show. It's a very different kind of sales show. Rich is like a natural salesman, and he has awesome stories. And AJ might have a different mask this time. The last 2 he wore were terrifying. But it's Welcome to Wonderland. That's right after this show. And then, you know, of course, at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, we got Kicking It with Henri. I will tell y'all this. If you've never watched Henri, be prepared if you watch Henri for the first time. He's very wild. Oh my goodness. The greatest showman in modern comics is what they call him.
I was so mad because he had 2 shows while I was gone that were like such great deals, and I saw pictures of stuff I'd be like, totally would have bought.
Yeah. So make sure you check those out. Welcome to Wonderland is a newer show with Rich and AJ. They've only been on a couple weeks now, but they're starting to cultivate that audience. Like I said, Make Two's been there, Nope's been there, a couple other folks have been there. Just want to make sure everybody watching us right now knows that show is next. Be sure to check it out. Come say hi. David Moore, how's it going, brother? That's another regular on Henri's show. He's even got his own video Henri made him. That's how you know you made it, is when Henri makes you a video.
That's right. If he animates you, it's even better. Especially gives you the spawn boot.
Yes, I have a video now. He doesn't play it on the experience, but I have a lawyer video that he plays on his channel. I love it so much.
Such a fun community.
Yes, I love this place. I really do. All of you out there in the chat, I love seeing you on other shows. Yeah, I really do. And don't forget, next Miss Jen's going to be on the CBSN, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. If I get internet back, which is still not on, it'll be on my. It will look normal, and if it isn't, then it'll look like this, and it'll be a little bit interesting, but whatever. We'll make it work. Also, I've got like a little secret goal for myself to make reviews of pretty much every book that I brought back from Comics Pro, which is turning out to be a bigger chunk than I really thought there was going to be. But I'm making the effort, so you'll start seeing those reviews pop up on our social media. They are spoiler-free reviews, so hopefully you'll be able to enjoy those and learn about books that are going to come out but aren't out this week. So.
Be looking for those starting like Thursday, guys. It's going to take me a couple of days to get them scheduled up for Miss Jen on the reviews, just because, Danny's on vacation and I'm doing it all on my own self. So, and I'm still exhausted from Comics Pro as well. So that'll be happening, like, say, starting Thursday.
Okay. Awesome. Well, just like usual, guys, Comic Shop Locator is still working on the Diamond site. So, but I will tell you, don't worry if that, if for some reason that becomes not a thing anymore. I met at least one or two people at Comics Pro that are working to put together another list that's easy accessible, just like that one is. You can put in the zip code for wherever you are and still find comic shops near you, which will be all we really want. It's like I got to find all the places, and if barring that, the Googles also works.
Yes, and if there's a book that you've looked at on Previews World or League of Comic Geeks that you've looked at in the future, because I've been doing this on my show, the earlier you can get with your comic shop to let them know you want something, the better. You are guaranteed a copy if you do it that way. So make sure you have that open line of communication with your comic shop. That way you don't miss, the next set of Absolute stuff that's coming out that looks awesome, or the Summer Superman book, or Superman Unlimited. Like a lot of Superman stuff. Summer Superman, I'm really excited for it. But Kyle, if you have nothing else to say, I think we're gonna go ahead,
wrap it up,
and get out of here so Miss Jen can get to her other show. Hopefully that works out for you. Hopefully,
stuff no matter what.
Yeah. But Miss Jen, always awesome hanging out with you doing these reviews.
Likewise. Super fun.
Yes. Everybody, remember, welcome to Wonderland, Kicking It with Henri, and we will see you next time.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.